Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another daily devotion. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave, and we release these on Saturday mornings. Kind of just as a way to start off our Saturday, our weekend with a little dive into the Word, into what God has to say to us through His words, but also as a way to kind of start a little bit maybe of a meditation practice over the course of the day or the weekend. So today, as we have been doing for the last couple of weeks, as we're diving into a little bit of a deeper look into some of the devotions that we've put into our membership area over at joindaysband.com. And these devotions in our member area are called daily doses of worship. And last week we spoke about bones. And we're looking at Ezekiel 37. It was kind of an incredible little study. Today we're looking at Hebrews 10:39, but we're going to actually dive into like 35 to 39 thereabouts. We'll talk about that, but let me read the verse, then I'll just read it's a pretty short devotional today, but then we'll dive a little deeper into 35 to 39 and what these verses mean. So the verse says this: "But we are not like those who turn away from God to their own destruction. We are the faithful ones whose souls will be saved." Okay, let me read the devotion, then we can get into this. So I titled this devotion Different, and I basically started out like this: we are different. We are counterculture, right? We believe in a God who saves, a God who is not seen physically in our daily lives, but is seen through us. We believe in a God who cares and sacrifices for us. We are different. Our fate is different. Our lives are different. Our speech is different. Our thoughts are different. Our thought patterns, our actions, our reactions, the way we view the world, the way we view relationships, the way we view friendships, the way we just view everything is different, because our goal is to view it through the lens of Jesus, right? So I asked this question: are you different today, or do you look like and act like and think like everyone else? Be different today. Let others see the difference in you. So that's Hebrews 10, right? 39. But let me back up a couple of verses and we can get into a little bit more about what the writer here was trying to say. Hold on, let me make sure I've got the proper notes. Yeah. So Paul wrote Hebrews. I just want to make sure that we've all got this clear understanding of who wrote this book. Okay, so let me just start reading and then we can get into some of the commentary here. So 35 to 39, if you have your Bibles, open it up. And you can read through Hebrews 10, 35 and 39 with me. "Therefore, do not cast away your confidence, which has great reward. For you have need of endurance." Remember, a couple of weeks ago we spoke about endurance. If you missed it, go back and check it out. "So that after you have done the will of God, you may receive the promise." And the promise that he's talking about is this: "For yet a little while, and he who is coming will come and will not tarry. Now the just shall live by faith, but if anyone draws back, my soul has no pleasure in him. But we are not of those who draw back to perdition, but of those who believe to the saving of the soul." Now that's a different translation than what I had here. Because I think what I was reading was out of the NASB. It says, "We are not those who turn away from God to their own destruction. We are the faithful ones whose souls will be saved." So this, I believe, is the, let's see. Maybe this is the NIV. Yeah, looks like it's the NIV. So let's just back up to 35, okay? Start there, kind of get into this. But "Therefore, do not cast away your confidence," right? So those discouraged Christians were in danger of casting away their confidence in Jesus and relapsing into kind of an old covenant relationship with God. Now, literally just stop right there. Think about your relationship with Jesus. Is it confident daily? Is it confident by the hour? Is it confident by the minute? Be honest, probably not, right? Don't throw away your confidence is what he's saying here. Neither men nor devils can take it away from you, and God will never deprive you of it if you are continually faithful, right? Faith is the antidote to that lack of confidence, our continued faith in him and all that he brings to us. There's a reference here to cowardly soldiers who kind of throw away their shields and run away from the battle. This is your shield, your faith in Christ, which gives you the knowledge of salvation. Keep it and it will keep you. Right? It's a quote from a guy named Clark. I like the thought, I like the idea, the comparison between us and soldiers, right? We are soldiers under the command of Jesus. And he's asking us not to throw away our shields. Don't run away from the battle. The battle is every day, right? The battle is every day. We're struggling with something that gets in the way or just kind of wedges itself in between us and our relationship and our confidence with Jesus, with God. You need to have endurance, he continues to say. They and we have need of endurance, right? Go back, watch that other devotion from a few weeks ago. Let me share with you. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 weeks ago, it was based on Romans 15. You can go back and check it out. But I believe it's called Endure or Endurance, so you can check it out. But endurance it just keeps coming up over and over and over again. So do not throw it away, right? Sorry, I lost my place here. The toughest and most discouraging trials are when we are called to obey God's will when the fulfillment of his promise seems so far away. This is why we need endurance. Faithfulness during the time when the promise seems unfulfilled is the measure of your obedience and your spiritual maturity. I'm trying to remember. I was listening to a pastor maybe a couple of days ago, maybe 2 or 3 days ago, and he said a sign of spiritual maturity in Jesus is when you are walking with him and he calls you into something else that you're not comfortable with. And you say, even though I'm not comfortable, I'm going to go. And I'm paraphrasing and I'm probably mucking it up a little bit, but overall, that's the idea. And here it is again, right? We need endurance. Faithfulness during the time when the promise seems unfulfilled is the measure of your obedience and spiritual maturity. Hanging on, right? Saying, okay, God, I can't see this happening, but I believe you. And I believe in the way that you're leading me. Let me just read this again. The toughest and most discouraging trials are when we are called to obey God's will and when the fulfillment of his promise seems so far away. This endurance is built through trials, through the testing of our faith. James 1, 2-4 says this. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. How often do we fall into this, what do I want to call it here? This idea of patience, right? How often do we not have patience? How often do we get frustrated because of our lack of patience, our lack of getting the answer right away? We need it now, we need it now. Give it to me now. And yet, Paul easily, James as well, telling us right here, patience is necessary in the walk with the Father. It produces endurance. It produces faith, right? Your faith produces patience. It's all one big circle here. Now the just live by faith, right? It continues on, and this is probably in the 36 or 37. We need to follow in the footsteps of the just who will live by faith and endure to see the promise fulfilled. Every word in Habakkuk is important, and the Lord quotes it 3 times in the New Testament just to bring out the fullness in the meaning. So Habakkuk 2:4 says this, okay? Behold the proud, his soul is not upright in him. His soul is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. It's brought up 3 times in the New Testament just to bring out the fullness of its meaning. Over and over and over again, the just will live by faith. In Romans 1:17, Paul quotes this same passage from Habakkuk with the emphasis on faith. The just shall live by faith. Maybe there's a little pattern here. Maybe we're going to title this Devotion Faith today. We'll see. In Galatians 3:11, Paul quotes this passage from Habakkuk 2:4 again with the emphasis on just. The just shall live by faith. And then here in Hebrews 10:38, the emphasis is on live. The just shall live by faith. So 3 different times it's quoted. 3 different times we have 3 different emphasis, or emphasi, what's the plural of emphasis? On 3 different words: live, just, and faith. Maybe it's kind of important. Maybe it is. But we are not those who draw back to perdition. Okay? Let me just give us all the proper definition of perdition. A state of eternal punishment and damnation into which a sinful and unpenitent person passes after death, right? We are not ones who draw back into this perdition, but of those who believe to the saving of the soul. We believe, our belief in Jesus causes the saving of our souls, right? It's a confident conclusion. We'll be those who endure on and gain the promise of God, the promise of the Father that we will abide with him as his children in heaven, right? We will not draw back into the old traditions or the old covenant relationship with God, where it's just all punishment all the time, or any other replacement for Jesus. We won't replace Jesus. Thomas says this, drawing back in the Christian life is sometimes due to disappointment, at other times due to depression, at other times still discouragement, but always to distrust, to a lack of trust. Drawing back in the Christian life always, always, always has trust somewhere in the equation as we draw back away from God, away from Jesus, away from what we know is right. There's always a lack of trust there because our egos, we say this all the time, but our egos just get in the way. We're just like, oh God, I think I've got this. But do I really have to trust where you're taking it? I don't like it. I'm not comfortable. Remember what we said just a minute ago. The maturity of following Jesus means that we accept wholeheartedly where he's leading us, even if it makes us uncomfortable. That point on distrust is so important. I'm just kind of wrestling with this myself right now. When he says to the saving of the soul, so the whole verse, but we are not of those who draw back to perdition, but of those who believe to the saving of the soul, right? This is Greek, to the giving of the soul. To the saving of the soul, the word saving does not refer to what is generally understood as salvation from sin, but is a word meaning complete possession. Saving of the soul, complete possession of the soul. Faith is first receptive in spreading its sails to catch the breeze of God's revelation, and then it is responsive to his word and his grace. It's a quote from Thomas. Can I just read all that again? Because it's pretty awesome. The word saving does not refer to what is generally understood as salvation from sin, but is a word meaning complete possession. Faith is first receptive in spreading its sails to catch the breeze of God's revelation, and then it's responsive to his word and his grace. So we can kind of narrow all of this down to this one idea, right? We are those who believe in the saving of the soul, the possession of the soul. giving our souls over to the Father. And that requires faith, right? And I love the way he puts this. Faith is first receptive and spreading its sails to catch the breeze of God's revelation, right? So we open up, we kind of breathe in and breathe out and just open up our hearts, our minds, our souls, our lives, our eyes, our ears, all that we have, all of our senses to the revelation of the Father. So we catch that breeze of his revelation. And then we respond to it through his word and through his grace, by his word and by his grace, by studying his word, by understanding the word, hearing the words of the Father, and then the grace, right? The unmerited favor of the Father, the grace. Unbelievable. The free and unmerited favor of God, manifested in the salvation of sinners and the bestowal of blessings. So again, blessings put on us by the grace of God. Just understanding his grace just for a minute, right? Free and unmerited favor of the Father. No matter what we've done, where we've been, how much we've said, you know what, I don't get it, I don't understand it. No matter how much we've said, we distrust the Father, faith, our confusion about faith, our confusion about all of this stuff, God still comes back and says, my grace is here. And I love you, and I still care for you. And I'm still holding on. Still holding on. Oh, that's so good. Faith is receptive and spreading its sails to catch the breeze of God's revelation. And then it's responsive to his word and his grace. So let's go back. Okay, we'll go back to the devotion. Let me read this verse again. But we are not like those who turn away from God to their own destruction, right? We are not those who turn, like, just think about the world. Think about how pursuing things of this world, how it leads to destruction, right? Pursuing things that feed our egos, feed our selfishness, all of this stuff that gets in the way of our walk with Jesus. Think about how if we just continue to feed that and lead into it and lean into it, how it causes destruction. But we're the faithful ones. We as followers of Jesus, we are the faithful ones. Our souls will be saved. That's Hebrews 10:39. That's exactly what Paul's saying, right? So turn away from the junk. Turn away from the short-lived happiness that we get from material things in the world, right? And lean into the eternal, everlasting love of the Father, knowing that our souls are possessed by him, loved by him, and that his grace and his love and his word continues to just nurture us. And so it's all well and good and beautiful to say all these words and to talk about this and to lean into it and say, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But when you really start to try and practice this, then it gets hard. And that's where that maturity comes into play. That maturity with Jesus, where we say, okay, God. And I've been challenging audiences lately at shows, so I get into that song Oceans, and we talk about, going deeper into the water. And it's a perfect kind of segue into this idea of our relationship is more mature when we allow Jesus to pull us deeper into these uncomfortable places so that we can then know him more and know his heart more. And so the faith side of this, the trust side of this, very difficult, not easy at all. Not something that any of us just fall into naturally, right? It's something that we have to work at. So I'm just encouraging you today, work at it. Work at your faith, work at your trust. Work at surrender. We keep coming back to these words, don't we? Over and over. We keep coming back to these words. It's amazing. Okay, so give yourself a little grace, right? Grace of the Father. And He will just lead. Just pray more for faith and more trust. Let's start right there, okay? Simple. 2-minute prayer today, maybe 3 minutes if you want to take a walk. Let one of your focus words be faith, or another one be trust, or another one be surrender. And just slowly just let God just absorb Him into your soul. And just say, Father, faith, give me trust. Father, give me surrender. These are the things that I long for. And as you continue to let that chisel away and whittle away at your soul, our attitudes change, our lives change, our ideas change, and people see a difference in our hearts and our lives. Okay, man, that's good stuff. Yeah, I think we'll just call this faith. That, hearkening back to Hebrews 10:39, and Habakkuk 2:4, for the just shall live by faith, right? Those 3 words, just, live, faith. It's really, really important. So maybe take a minute, flip back to Habakkuk, flip over to James, all the references that we made here, and man, good stuff. Okay, let's leave it there. Amazing. Hey, if you want to get involved in our community, please do so. Head over to joindavesband.com. We have an incredible group of people that are coming together. I want to say daily. No, daily. It is daily. Seeking Jesus, desperately seeking Jesus. And what we do is we send out devotions every morning. We have Bible studies every week. We have worship sessions every week. We come together at shows. And the first few dollars of your membership money goes straight to helping us sponsor a child. So we're serving in that way as well. We're literally seeing lives change. We're seeing kids' lives get food and clothing, clean water and health care, all of this stuff that we just, as followers of Jesus, need to do. So if that sounds appealing to you, it sounds like a community you want to get involved with, head over to joindavesband.com, get involved. You can use the code 25OFF if you'd like. And that'll give you 25% off of your membership if you want to do that. Sometimes people don't, but I always put it out there. And we just want you to be involved. Want you to get involved in our community and just be a part of it. So today, faith, just, live. Let those 3 words just kind of echo through your mind as you walk around today. And dive a little deeper into Hebrews chapter 10. All right? Thank you, guys. We'll see you over in our community. Again, head over to joindavesband.com if you want to get involved. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care.